major inconveniences in China. So Ollie Barrett kind of made a video talking about how convenient China was, which I easily debunked. And I wanted to continue by talking about what China is going to be like from the very beginning, once you first go there, and how inconvenient it's going to be. The first thing is going to be the fact that not a lot of people speak English. And okay, sure, you should learn Chinese. I admit that. But one thing to understand is that in a lot of places where you think people would speak a little bit of English, they don't. As an example, when you go to a train station in Japan, you can pretty much always find someone that speaks some English, right? That can be a little bit helpful, right? They can help you a little bit. You know, they kind of keep an English speaker on hand there. But China doesn't do that. You know, you can't really get a metro ticket or a train ticket because no one speaks English in China, and no one's going to be there to help you. And you're not going to know what app is on your phone to get it on there, and you're going to have a hard time because there's not a lot of signs in English in China, you know, that point you in the right direction, or instructions in China. Whereas if in a lot of other countries, you'll kind of see English kind of plastered in little places around to kind of help you move in the right direction, but not in China. But let's get started talking about something that's not just inconvenient, but it's kind of off-putting from the very beginning. And that's when you go to China and you first start going through customs and it says foreigners, foreigners, foreigners. And you realize from the very beginning that you're a foreigner and that eventually you're going to be leaving because you don't belong in China. They call you a foreigner, like, you're just a foreigner and you don't belong here. And you're going to realize that because when you go to other countries, they always say, welcome, guest, welcome, you know, please come here, guest, welcome, tourist, you know, whatever, right? They like to let you know that you're a guest in their country, but not in China. You're coming and you're going, right? You don't belong there. So from the beginning, let's say that you want to take that train somewhere. You just got to China. Yeah, let's go. Well, you're going to have to stand in line for an hour and be prepared for that, because as soon as you enter China, you're going to learn what a line is, a queue, and you're going to be standing in these things for hours and hours of your life. That's going to be at the train, that's going to be at the banks, that's going to be at the phone companies, that's going to be at restaurants. Get ready, get used to it. You're going to be spending hours in lines. You could be doing plenty of other things, but you're going to be in line, okay? And just remember that once you've actually got through that line, again, no one's really going to speak any English, so you better have your translation software ready, or, well, that's not going to work either, because obviously you've heard of the firewall. You see, that brings me to another major inconvenience of China. Everything is blocked. Everything. The stupidest apps that you would never think would be blocked in China are blocked in China. If Teletubbies have an app, I'm sure it's blocked in China. If My Little Pony has an app, I'm sure it's blocked in China, because everything else is Facebook, Google Maps, Google Translate, stuff that would be really nice to have, you know, in China is blocked, okay? So not only can you not get around in English, but you can't even translate in English to Chinese, so you're pretty much lost from day one, and you've pretty much got to learn how to point and tell people what you want. So imagine that. Not only are you waiting an hour in line, but then once you get there, you're going to struggle to tell them what you want anyways, because they don't speak English, and your translation software doesn't work. Wonderful. But let's just say that you've done that, you've got through it, you've finally reached your destination, and you decide you need to take a taxi somewhere. Prepare for your next inconvenience, and that's going to be that not only does the taxi driver not speak English, but he's going to try to screw you. That's right, he's going to try to bend you over a little bit and shove it in. And what I mean by that is he's going to try to screw you from the very beginning, because taxi drivers in China are known to scam people. Basically, what a ride that would cost you, I don't know, 30 renminbi, 20 renminbi, he's going to try to charge you 150. And if he's having a really good day, he's going to try to charge you 300. You know why? Because he doesn't really like foreigners, and he just doesn't want to put up with you in his car, so he's going to try and screw you because he sees you as easy prey. So, you know, basically be ready for that. And you think, well, you know, I'll just take an Uber or a Lyft. Those are blocked usually, by the way, too. But you can get DD, right? So you could get DD, and then the good thing about DD is that well, it does have English, but the problem is that the DD driver is going to call you, even though there's a GPS and a little dot that shows him who you are, and you could see his car, he's still going to call you and drive you nuts anyways, because that's what they always do. Why they do that, I don't know. But again, he's not going to speak any English either. So let's say you've done all this. You've finally reached your destination. You came from the West. You've gotten to China. You've taken a train. You've taken a taxi and a DD, and you've gotten to the city that you want to live, and it's wonderful, right? It's wonderful. There's just another problem, is that now you're going to try to find an apartment. And the problem with that is you're going to pay the foreigner price. You're going to pay double the price. If a Chinese person would pay $3,500 for it, you're paying $7,000 plus, okay? Because they're going to charge you the foreigner. You说老外.我说老外. Oh, you're going to pay double because you're a foreigner. That's what happens, right? And then a lot of apartments, they won't even rent out to a foreigner. Oh, and a lot of hotels won't rent out to a foreigner either. So when you go to actually register, that's right, because you've got to register because the communist government wants to know who you are, where you are at all times. And that includes your apartment, by the way. Once you get your apartment, you've got to go to a police station and register. And depending on the area, you may have to go to that police station maybe every 2 months or 3 months or something. My last apartment that I stayed in, I actually had to go see a police officer every 2 months because it was an area with a lot of foreigners. Okay, so you're going to end up paying twice as much. You're going to have to always go check in with the police station, like, hey guys, I'm still here, haven't robbed or killed anyone, woo! And then of course they're gonna, be like, okay, and sign off their paper, because they don't really give a shit, let's be honest. They don't care. And so you think that you've finally got all these inconveniences out of the way. You've got your apartment ready, and now you're ready to start work. Yeah. And then you go to work and you realize that even your work is a major inconvenience. And the reason it's a major inconvenience is because they've offered you a contract which means absolutely nothing in China. They don't pay you as much as they said they would. You don't get as many hours, which means you don't get as much pay. And they want you to do a bunch of stuff that you never promised you would do. They told you that all the kids you'd be teaching were 8 to 10 years old, when realistically they're 4 years old, and you're working in some kind of weird kindergarten that looks highly illegal, because it is. So now your job is different completely than you expected. Of course, that's a major inconvenience in China. And when your job completely lies to you, then you have to find out that they may or may not be willing to sponsor your visa from the very beginning, which is horrible. You should never work illegally in China. But of course, they lied to you from the beginning and told you that if you came to China, they would sponsor your visa, which is incorrect. Again, by the way, you should get a visa before coming to China, which is nearly freaking impossible because none of the companies have ever wanted to do it right anyways. But of course, you think, well, I'll just trust them. They know what's best, even though they really don't. So you get there and you find out that maybe they'll sponsor your visa, maybe not, but let's just say they don't. So basically you're forced to work illegally for a month because now you've got an apartment to pay for. And so you do that, and then you have to go through the process of finding another job where they actually will give you a visa. You finally go through that, and you find a happy medium where they still lie to you on your contract, because all the companies lie on their contracts. They never keep anything truthful or honest. But you finally have something, and you finally get your visa. But now the problem is that they've got you by the balls, and they're going to try to force you to do a bunch of stuff that, once again, you never wanted to do. Horribly inconvenient, right? And then anytime you tell them no, they're going to threaten to revoke your visa, and then you're going to have to go through that inconvenience again. So not only is just traveling inconvenient, because you can't just go buy a ticket without showing your ID and then stand in line for 2 hours, but just making money in China is inconvenient. Oh, and when you go to the bank to finally deposit your money for the first time, good luck, because chances are they're not just going to open a bank account for you. You've got to have some kind of letter from your company. Your company's going to act all retarded. They're going to act like they don't know if they can do that or not, or why they should or why they would, even though they've probably done it 50 times. And then you're going to have to find a Chinese friend that speaks English to help you open an account. And my gosh, okay, my gosh, I had a time where I went to Bank of China and they told me that foreigners couldn't open a bank account at the Bank of China. And I looked at them and I turned my head and I laughed and I said, "Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? You're the Bank of China. Of course foreigners can open a bank account at the Bank of China in China. You're the Bank of China. You're not just a bank in China, you're the Bank of China." My gosh, it was insane. So you've got everything set up, your apartment, your job, you've got income, okay? And then you're going to start experiencing the racism of China, okay? Because you're going to learn the language a little, and you're going to learn that they talk about you. They're going to talk about you for being British, or talking about you for being American, or talking about you for being Australian, or black, or different complexion of skin. Maybe you're taller than average. Maybe you're fatter than average. Whatever. Your skin's a little different colored. You're going to be talked about. Little kids are going to look at you and point and say things about you, and it's going to be inconvenient. Every day when you try to go and get on a train, people are basically going to run off and run into you. Anytime you go to an elevator, people are going to run into you. People on the bus are loud. People on the trains are loud and inconvenient. They'll listen to music as loud as possible without headphones on. People in the bathrooms will play video games while sitting on the toilet instead of getting off the toilet, letting everyone else go. There'll be a line of 50 people, and some guy's in there playing Wang Zhou Rong Yao, where he's trying to conquer the world as Ho Yi with his bow and arrow. And instead of getting off the toilet and allowing everyone else to actually go in and take a dump, he's in there playing, okay? And you'll get to do all of this again and again and again, because every year your visa expires. And then after your visa expires, maybe you'll decide you want to move apartments. And then you'll get to do all that again, okay? You'll start learning how to use apps like Ulama and Meituan. And you're going to think, oh, this is great. Now I can get food from anywhere, anytime. And it's going to be delivered. And then all of a sudden, you're going to do your order, and there's some guy's going to call you, "Wei ni hao!" And of course, he's going to sound just like that. "Wei ni hao!" He's going to yell at you on the phone, and you're going to think, what the hell does that mean? And all he's saying is hello. And he's going to tell you something like your food's not ready, or that he can't get to you for the delivery, or that he ran out of electricity on his bike, or that he's got to take a dump, or that he doesn't want to deliver your food because he doesn't like you. And then he's not going to speak any English, and you're back where you freaking started, okay? China has an insane amount of inconveniences. China is not a country that is set up for foreigners like some other countries. The laws every year change against foreigners. Nothing is consistent. I could make 20-minute videos about China and talk about the inconveniences, okay? And people say, oh, no, you just did it wrong. Bullshit, okay? I lived for years in China, had a Chinese wife, experienced all of these inconveniences for years, things that I never have to put up with in the West. I never have to put up with people looking down on me just because of where I come from, you know. I never have to put up with the racisms, none of that stuff. I never have to deal with, if I want to get on a train, having to show my ID a bunch of times and go through all this stuff. Even in Japan, as a foreigner, I literally just walked up to a machine, paid, and got on the train. Okay? Because it's a China thing, right? You're a foreigner. You don't belong there. They don't want you to stay there. Okay? That's why I left China. And that's why I can rant about China and complain about it being inconvenient for 15 minutes of just straight talking here. And again, I could do 20 of these videos. Inconveniences of China. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day.